Okay, my name is Marty Pendris, and we're the owners, Sandy and my wife, we're the owners of this 1912 Ford Model T Touring, and it was built in about the middle of June of 1912 and came from North Dakota originally. Oh, they're simple, easy to work on, good car to learn on to restore, because it doesn't cost you a lot of money, and as you can see what you can get for just a few $1,000s, you know, compared to some of these expensive cars and whatnot, and they're just fun to drive with a 3-pedal system, and it's like driving an old wagon with a motor in front of it, pretty much, you know. And they're once you learn how the 3-pedal system works, it's easy. It's like driving an old farm tractor, to me anyways, because I grew up on a farm where we drove tractors all the time, you know, and just same pedal mechanism. And the transmission of these cars was the first automatic transmission planetary system that they came out with, but didn't realize there was an automatic transmission back then, you know, just the way it works. It works by pedals, but, you know, instead of the column shifting, but it's automatic transmission in a roundabout way. Sitting up in it high, you're high, you can see the road real good, looking down at things and whatnot, so it's just, you're just above everybody, in a sense, like in a big truck. You know, they're 7 foot tall to start with. A lot of people like the cars. You get thumbs up and toot the horns and wave and all that kind of stuff. For starting the car, this is kind of the rigmarole you got to go through. First of all, you got to turn your ignition on back here, switch the key over to mag, because it starts on the mag on this car. And then you get around here, and of course this is your choke. And then of course you crank it. You know, you just crank it like this, you know. And then it'll start, usually starts right up. Half a crank on me, you know, maybe one crank, but it takes off right away. And then of course you get around the other side here. Now once you play with the choke a couple times to keep it from stalling on you until it gets going. And then you got to get over here and you got to retard it. There's spark advance, you got to retard it. And this is your throttle for your gas, bring it down a little bit more so it runs a little better. And then you lean it, right here's a knob, you got to lean it out so it runs a little bit smoother as you get her going. Okay, once you get started, and you got her running good and smooth, and then you put her in the pedals to get her started. You get the handbrake here, of course, is on. You put her in here about halfway down, then you let loose on the handbrake, and then you're ready to go, and then just push her all the way, and that gets you going low gear. And then once you get her going about 5-10 miles an hour, so it's cruising, just let her out there, and then she's driving, and so on, and just watch what you're doing, and then of course this is your choke, your spark advance. You got to kind of bring it down to about here, wherever every car is different, so that for running purposes and whatnot. So you put it down to where it sounds the best, feels the best, without leaning it out too much. And of course, you give her the gas right up here. Then if you want to back up, you got to put her down about part way, halfway neutral, then step on the brake or the reverse pedal, I mean, and then push it in all the way, and that puts you in reverse so you can back up. Then if you want to stop, you just put on the brake here, but keep this here in neutral, 35 miles an hour, give or take, you know, a couple miles or whatever. Pushing any farther, harder, and you start hammering on the motor, you know, it can get up to about 40. I've had my 26 at about 42, but that's pushing the motor hard. I mean, you're hearing the piston start swapping, you know, and rattling. The motor meter's on the front of the top of the radiator. That's how you tell your temperature from sitting here, whether you're overheating or not. You just keep a watch on the thermostat, and when the line goes up the red into that round circle, then you know you're overheating. That's just the way they ran, hot in them days. They called it normal. Oops, I got it. Yeah, that's it. Better get out of the way. And of course, you don't hear it that good to the car running. You know,